Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, today we're tackling a topic that, every single developer eventually faces: managing the sheer complexity of modern applications.
You know that feeling, right? Your app starts out simple, but pretty soon it starts to feel like this: tangled web of data. So, what's at the absolute heart of this problem?
Well, the answer is something we call application state. At its core, it's really just the memory of your app, all the data that defines what it's doing at any given moment. But as that app grows, keeping the central mission board organized and consistent becomes a huge challenge.
So, the first and honestly the simplest way to manage this is by keeping state local. It's a feature that's built right into the most popular web frameworks out there.
And it doesn't matter if you're using React, Angular, or Vue. The core concept is exactly the same. It just has a different name. It's all about managing data that only one specific part of your app, one component, really needs to know about.
And this is perfect for simple stuff, things happening inside a single component. But what happens when different parts of your app, like say a shopping cart and a checkout button, need to share the exact same information?
Well, this need for shared global state led to a whole revolution of really powerful libraries, and they pretty much crystallized around two competing philosophies. The first philosophy, which was made famous by Redux, is all about one thing: predictability. The idea is that all of your application's shared data should live in one central, unchangeable place called a store.
This diagram just perfectly illustrates Redux's strict, one-way data flow. Notice how everything follows this loop. A component dispatches an action, which goes through a reducer to update the central store. This whole process guarantees you can always trace exactly how and why your state changed, which makes your app incredibly predictable.
Now, the second philosophy, which you'll see in libraries like MobX, takes a totally different approach. It focuses on making state management feel more automatic and less heavy on the boilerplate, meaning you write a lot less repetitive setup code.
So instead of that strict loop, MobX lets you define what it calls observable state. Now, when your UI components use this state, they automatically subscribe to it. So any change to that state instantly and automatically triggers a re-render. It honestly feels kind of magical. So that's the crucial choice right there. Redux offers this rigorous, predictable control. MobX, on the other hand, gives you more flexibility by embracing what we call reactive programming. Think of it like a spreadsheet. When you change a cell, the chart that uses it just automatically updates. That's the idea.
So how did this whole debate play out in the real world? Well, despite a lot of really innovative alternatives, Redux's battle-proven track record and its massive community have really made it the dominant choice, especially in the React ecosystem.
But here's the thing. The state on your device is really only half the picture. To create a truly seamless user experience, we also have to manage the data that lives on the server. And this happens at a few different levels. Everything from just remembering data on a single page, to tracking a user's entire visit, all the way to holding data that's global for every single person using the application.
Okay, this brings us to the latest chapter in our story. What if we could get the performance benefits of keeping state local, but with the power of a global library, and build it right into the very fabric of our frameworks?
So a recent research paper introduces this idea of a signal-first architecture. And it's not just a new tool, it's a fundamental rethink of how we handle reactivity, and it's all driven by optimizations at the compiler level. The performance gains are just staggering. In benchmarks, systems built with these signals are nearly 6 times faster at executing common tasks. I mean, that is a massive leap in efficiency.
They're also incredibly efficient. Under heavy load, they use over 10 times less memory compared to the traditional architectures. And that means smoother performance on a much wider range of devices.
And for the actual person using the app, this translates directly to a much smoother, less janky experience. We're talking a 67% reduction in dropped frames during complex updates. That's something you can really feel.
Now, what's really interesting here is how this timeline places signals as the next logical step. It's part of a decade-long journey towards more and more efficient, fine-grained reactivity.
So if there's one key takeaway, it's this: the whole frontier of state management is shifting. We're moving away from just adding clever libraries to our apps and moving toward deep compiler-level optimizations that make our frameworks faster by default. Which leaves us with a final, kind of provocative question. As these tools become more powerful and more integrated into the frameworks themselves, is the ultimate goal to make the complexity of state management just completely disappear for the developer?
That's all for this explainer. Thanks for watching.